Clay Thomas,
Here.
Lon Stuffman, Rob Scott,
Yes.
Ann Lee, here, Joyce Durkee.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting?
I move we approve the minutes.
I second it.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Any additions to the agenda? And no, Melissa wanted to speak about the levy.
Yes. So when do you want to pick me in? I have that number between 9 right in there.
8 and 9?
Uh-huh.
That's fine. Financial report, Mr. Jones.
Okay, financial report. You got it there. So you can just see what we've done. In income, what we got our account, we got 251,000 plus in LGIP. We got about a little over 17,000 in road credit union. We got so we're a total of $268,443. And then you can see what we've taken in. We had 2 donations for $650. We've earned some interest on our savings account. LGIP earned a few dollars there. Seismic grant reimbursement, 18,860 reimbursement from Fire District 4. And that's from that grant, fuels reduction grant that they've been doing. And we do the work, we do the payroll, and then they reimburse us. And a miscellaneous that we got on the property deal, there was $120 refund. Expenses, you can see down there, personnel, all the debits that we've had, various things. I'm not going to go through each one of them. Again, there's quite a few of them are grant related. And on checks on the other side, you can see expenses we've had there. So like that 18,000 we got in, it went right back out to pay on the seismic project. Some training, a few other things, small amounts. Our insurance was 14,263, but I'm going to bring something up on that where, well, I'll show it on, we'll look at it on the budget or on the budget actuals. So, total disbursements, $59,504. So it's a big month. And so you can see what we've got on hand. And after everything, we got $269,062.54. And you look down below, minus grant funds we have in there, minus remaining budget for this year, and the 4 months unappropriated, we get about 88,000 in cash reserves. Any questions on that?
I have one question.
Yes.
Donations.
Donations.
Who gave us those?
So I can't remember their last name.
My aunt and uncle donated the big chunk of that. I don't
Yeah.
know, there was another donation too, but
Yeah,
aunt and uncle gave, I think it was
$500.
Fine.
And
Trail Community Church.
in Trail
Community. Okay.
And that's like they had done some work for them, I think, some fuel reduction, and so they gave a donation. So yeah, those are pretty substantial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to know who.
I have a question. 659 air gas tank rental.
Yeah, that's for our O2. We got 4 tanks, and we have to rent those each month.
I thought we had a machine or something that we could fill our SCBA bottles.
Yeah, that's different.
So we're talking about pure oxygen for the medical calls and what that rental is for. We aren't paying rental on any air tank. We're paying rental on oxygen tanks for medical grade of oxygen for the medical product.
But the machine that we have doesn't.
It does compressed air for breathing for firefighters. It doesn't separate out pure oxygen and
Okay.
qualified air.
Okay,
Good question.
thank you.
Okay, budget to actuals. So we're at the end of February. You can kind of see where we're at. Brought in quite a bit of income, 368,000 total, 26,000 this month. Expenses, personnel's on track, so we'd be like at 66% right now for the year. I eliminated 2 columns currently so that this could be a little bit bigger in size. So operations, we're at about 60% as well. Facilities, we're at 57%. Kind of see that. Emergency services, the 911 dispatch, right on track. Medical supplies, we're actually way low on medical supplies. We just haven't purchased that many things recently. I think we got stocked up on some things before. Insurance, 19,000 for this year so far. And the seismic project, we have to get a special add-on for that. I don't know how much that's going to cost. So we budgeted 18,000. And in our new budget, when we're looking at the levy, we're looking at 20,000 because we figured it's going to go up. That one's not far off. That's a lot of money. But we have to have it. Office expenses are really low because I think some of us that work from home just use our own paper and our own ink and all that. And we don't use much at the office. So it's lower than it should be, but it's where it is. Training is low right at the moment. Dues and subscriptions. And I'm not going to go through the rest of these, but legal's going to jump up because we had a fair amount of help on the levy part. And so anyhow, when you get down there, we have 92,000 expenses, but of that 78,000 is if you subtract all the grants out. So we're at 58,900 for expenses, or at 58%, 59%. So we're right on. We're really close to where we should be. Any questions on budgets to actuals?
I do.
Okay.
Under air gas, down on the front page,
Yeah,
under medical supplies,
on the front.
we budgeted $250. And according to you're out there, we've not spent any of it. It shows
So-
zero.
For tank rental, yeah, this is the interesting part. Tank rental, we show that under operations, under equipment rental and repair. So we show that as a rental. So that's actually if we bought oxygen tanks filled at air gas, that would be there. I can look back and see if maybe we've had one filled, but I think we had one filled at the end of last fiscal year. So we don't get those filled very often.
No, probably on the order of like 1 tank every 3 months or something is probably the order, maybe even longer.
It's less. I could look at that, Bob, and see if maybe I just misplaced one of those.
And $250 budgeted for that. That's not really any
Because
money.
according to this, we
$250.
spent $153 for a tank rental.
Yeah, it's 4 tanks.
And that's the big tanks, right? The big
Well,
tall one?
No, they're like a acetylene tank or oxygen
Yeah,
tank.
they're about
Yeah,
that tall,
yeah, about that tall, yeah.
that big around?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. So we have 4 of those.
Yeah.
And so we pay rental on those every month, but we don't get them filled very often because they have to I'm not going to try to explain the daisy chain thing.
So we haven't filled any this year. Is that correct?
Not to my knowledge. I'll have to double
Okay.
check. I'll have to double check.
Yes, this calendar year, no.
Okay.
Anything else?
Mhm.
All right. That's it. Let's see if I have anything else on my list here under finances. Oh, real quick. Seismic project update. I'm gonna do that under here because it's not on the, I don't think that's on the agenda. Yeah, okay, so we got the GMP signed. You guys had a special meeting for that, so we're in place there. We got a pre-construction meeting tomorrow. And we'll go over everything, and start date still scheduled for April 1st. I don't know how that's gonna work out, so wait and see what's happening with the bus barn. And but that's where we're at, and we're looking to get going, and it should be fast and furious once we start. So we'll be having to get moved out of there. Huh?
Fast and Furious movies, they have fire.
Yeah, well,
We don't want it.
yeah, no, we don't want fire. We don't want fire. But that insurance that we have to get is called property construction insurance. So even though they're insured, we have to insure our own building in
Yep.
case it falls down when they're doing something. or burns down, I guess. Hopefully that won't happen. Okay, that's it.
That's it. Can we get a motion to accept the financial report?
A motion, we accept the financial report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chief's report.
I'll read it for the record. March 2025 Chiefs Report, just operational activities since the last regular board meeting. Current volunteers, we currently have 13 responding volunteers and 1 applicant. In addition, we have 5 specialty volunteers. Apparatus and buildings, we continue to meet regularly with contractors, engineers, and project managers for the seismic retrofit project. Seismic retrofit construction is scheduled to begin April 1st, as Bob said. We plan to store and run our structural engine and our water tender out of bus barn. I have checked in this week with Dave Stone, and he said, yeah, we're on schedule. I have not seen anything activity over there, and they have to rebuild the front of that building first. So we'll see.
Oh, good.
The rescue truck will be secured. There's not room in the bus barn, so it'll be secured and it'll run from one of the volunteers, residents. Total calls since last we met, we've had 21 medical calls. Volunteer training, 5 prospect EMTs attended the Stage of Jefferson EMS conference last weekend on the campus of Southern Oregon University. Courses over 2 days included concurrent presentations for basic life support, advanced life support, and leadership. Speakers included patients, physicians, and medics from all over the United States. Attendees included EMS personnel from various fire departments, police agencies, and ambulance companies. Our responding volunteers continue to meet every Tuesday for training. We recently had Shady Cove firefighters join us here in Prospect for classroom extraction training, and we went to Shady Cove for hands-on extraction training. Tomorrow is scheduled to be another combined training in Shady Cove. Drill will include full engine evolutions, hose advancement, and ladder throws. Our volunteers have trained a total of 144 documented hours since last month's board meeting. This is an average of more than 10 hours per responding volunteer. And something that wasn't on the one I sent out is that 2 of our firefighters plan to attend Firefighter 2 Academy. It's coming up in March. Yeah, May. All right. Grants, the CWDG grant. We have requested a new truck for $65,000. That truck is a pickup truck, and that is to pull during when it's not fire season, that will pull the chipper and the dump trailer for our community fuel reduction program. The truck that we use right now is a bit on its last leg. We've already put money into it. It does all right. It has a really hard time getting back from Shady Cove, anything going behind it. So there are some grants available. We apply, we'll see what happens. If we get one of those grants, we will sell the old truck to some board. And we will try for a new truck. Otherwise, we'll just keep going in the old one. The grant does pay us a mileage, cents per mileage for everything for us using it. So yes, we're putting mileage on the old truck. It's on the last leg, and the grant pays us to do so. So anyway, ODF training reimbursements grant includes fire shelters. We've applied for that. Not heard back yet. That's for $10,000. NBFC $5,000 per generator battery backup system. So Nutella Corporation has a program, and that would be for our first for station 1 to have generator battery backup, since our community seems to lose power often, and all of our vehicles are on shore power, charging the medical equipment and fire stuff. That's important. Anheuser-Busch, we've applied for a pallet of canned water. We did that last year. We give those out mostly at the Timber Festival. State Farm has a pre-owned refurbished laptop we're applied for. We just received notice that the fire season staffing grant will be offered again this year. We heard that it might not be. That has allowed us during fire season, usually July, August, and September at least, to have 2 full-time firefighters in our community on the clock during the busiest time so that response is quick. And they're able to do things on shift like update address signs and things like that. But it puts 2 guys on the clock for quick response during fire season. We'd heard that that wouldn't be available, but we just heard this week it will be, so we'll be applying. Harbor Freight gave our fire department a $500 in-store credit. It's something good down there. And then thanks again, Kathleen, for the grant work. Partnerships. Kathleen and I will be attending and supporting the Prospect Charter School Career Fair Wednesday this week. I traveled to Applegate Fire District and met with their fuel reduction captain last Wednesday. We talked about ways to continue to provide fuel reduction and fire education efforts in Prospect. I have a day scheduled with Pacific Power in Prospect to tour their facilities. They have a few locations that a lot of people aren't aware of, and the fire department has to be able to find those. There's a problem and have access to them. So we're going to be talking about those as well as the North Fork Reservoir and what would happen if that either failed or got rerouted. Kathleen and I met with Jackson County Fire District 4 regarding continued fuel reduction work. We meet with them actually every month. And we are scheduled to have a state fire marshal visit Prospect next week to see what we've accomplished so far with the community fuel reduction grant awarded to our district in January. So outside of that fuel reduction work we do, we got a $75,000 grant that we have done so far. We've addressed some school property, property next to the store's trailer park there. And they're going to come up and walk through and see what we've been able to accomplish with those dollars so far. So that will grease the skids for getting additional grant money in the future. So
We still got like about 60,000 left approximately.
yep.
Just
So the plant, the challenge with that is, so like with the school property, it's forested, it's full of brush and all this reprod growing up underneath the overstory. It's like mowing a lawn. If you throw all the money at it right now, it's going to come back and you have to mow the lawn again. So we're not going to spend all the money this year. We are spreading that over a couple of years so that we can readdress as undergrowth comes up. And then there's some other projects we're looking at, like, we've got a couple other things that are the most concerning in our community, and we'll spend money on those as well. All right. For the good of the order, our levy committee, which we're going to hear from tonight, continues to meet and work toward improving our fire department and having a successful levy bid on the ballot. So thank you again for their continued efforts. That's all I have for my chief's report. Are there any questions from the board?
I've got a quick question.
All
The fire season staffing grant.
Yep.
Is that through the state or through federal or
The state fire marshal disperses it, but the money
money
comes.
comes from the state?
Yes.
Did you say you sent out your chief's report early? Cause I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah.
Was it a separate email or was it attached with Bob's?
So it was a separate.
Right after mine, I don't know what they.
Okay. Okay, well, I don't remember seeing it. I'll look. when I get home.
My phone right here.
No, that's fine. I just don't remember seeing it. So,
I have a comment for you. A week ago Friday, I had your fire guys with the trailer, drop off the trailer at my house, and they left it for the weekend.
Right.
And my grandkids, my daughter and myself filled it up. And first thing Monday morning, they came and got it and did a good job. I was impressed.
Good. So that program, a lot of people take advantage of it, and it's great. It lets you you don't have to own a trailer. You can fill it, or if you really needed the help, we'll help put the stuff in. The best part is you don't have to drive to Dodge Bridge, then see that it's been closed because it's too muddy, and then keep driving at the transfer station, and then pay money, and then your whole day is gone. We figure out what to do with it. And so we have some property owners that save us driving, and that's kind of what we do. Helped a lot of people with that.
so you just drop it off for the weekend at somebody's house and they fill it up and
We
then,
call for it empty. We leave it on the property, and then when it's full, it could be that day, it could be a day later. They just call us and say, we filled it, and we'll just come get it.
how long a trailer is it?
It's
14 foot.
that's 7 by 14 dump trailer. It's pretty big.
It's
And then if you have more than would fit in that, if you had 10 trailer loads, then I would suggest having us chip. We can chip 10 trailers.
Does it have to be like branches and stuff, or can it be like pine needles and stuff like that? Or does it have to be like,
Trailer, it can be anything that's not lumber. So.
right, okay,
It could be
yeah,
pine rounds, it could be pine needles, it could be leaves.
well, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anything else? Okay. Number 7, approval of the budget calendar. So this was on the agenda last time
Yeah.
and not everybody looked at it. Did everybody get a chance to look at it? I know Bob sent out another email about it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody knew.
So does anybody have any problems with it? I know Lon's not here, but there's nothing we can do about that. But I don't have any problems with it. They're all on a Monday
Yeah,
and I'll be here.
I think it was confusion. We're thinking they were on Wednesday, or I might have said that, but they're actually on Monday. And I think I did that on purpose. I didn't think about it, but not.
Does anybody else have a problem with that?
Nope.
So can we get a
We're
motion?
good.
Can we get a motion to approve the budget calendar?
I move we approve the budget calendar.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Number 8, appointment of budget committee members. Mr. Jones, you want to handle that? Do we have people
Yeah. So here,
lined up?
here's what we got. We got 3 people that are going off. One of them was Kathy Kinser. I guess I don't see her. Oh, there you are. I'm sorry. I'm looking all around. And she's agreed to continue for another 3 years. So that would be one of those spots. And then Crescenda Gibson and Becky Johnson they put in their applications. That's the only ones we got. We had it out there for a month.
We're missing 2, right? 'Cause
So-
we got 5.
No, so we already, Ryan Cardula and Paul White are still,
Still
their
gonna be-
terms are still in there. Although Ryan, he hasn't been attending, and I've been back and forth with a lot of conversations with him, or a few actually. It's hard to get anything back from him, but he may or may not show up, so I don't know. He may end up resigning. I'm still going back and forth, but for right now, he's on there. Paul White, Kathy Kinser, Crescenda, and Becky would be. So I'd look for you guys to appoint the 3, Kathy Kinser again, Crescenda Gibson, and Becky Johnson to this budget committee. So those were the only applications.
And that's a 3-year term?
3-year term.
You sign up for?
So it'll be 25, 26, 27.
So do we need a motion?
Yes.
I move that we appoint these for our committee budget members.
I second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
When will we know about the other 2, or will we?
Well, Paul will be on it. He's for
Okay.
sure. That's not a problem.
Because then
Ryan's
we'll-
still on. He's technically still on there. So unless he resigns, he's on it.
Oh,
And I'm
when-
going to talk to him and say, are you going to be able to be there?
Yeah.
He really only has to make 1 meeting.
Meeting, yeah.
So technically.
Okay, so number 8, so then we added Melissa between 8 and 9, so it's Melissa, would you like to speak?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to express appreciation from the levy committee for your action at your February board meeting, to place the local option levy on the May 20th ballot for $1.39 per thousand, as was recommended by the committee. So since that time, staff has been working on submitting the required forms to the Jackson County Elections Department. There's a simple thing there. And the committee has met twice, and we're working on basically outreach strategies to get us to May 20th. And so the things that we are working on include the letters of support and the voters pamphlet, and creation of a levy information center, creating an informational flyer about the revised levy proposal, the lower amount, and including how much it will cost and why it's needed. Many thanks to Pam Lee for putting that together as a committee member. We also are planning to do a door-to-door informational and voter registration campaign to reach out to renters and to our local mobile home parks. And on April 26th, tentatively, we've scheduled a community forum with food And also an information and answer session and to register people to vote. And for anybody who might need to know the information, you have until April 29th to register to vote, and you can get an application at the post office. I think you can get them at the URAD office, and they're also online from the county election department. And it's fillable online. We're also working on a vote yes brochure that we want to send out to every address in the district that will feature the names of residents who endorse the levy. And we are also looking into having yard signs available for supporters. And we will continue to remind people to register to vote by April 29th, and they'll vote yes by May 15th.
Any questions for Melissa?
I have a quick question. Pam is on the committee for the levy. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And she have a board position and on the committee for the levy at the same time?
And the levy, because that's not really a part of the volunteers, but that's something I forgot to bring up if you guys care, if I go back, to the chief's report. The volunteers, I'm not sure what website or whatever it's on, but it's got Pam listed as volunteer. I'm not sure.
What's that?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a fire department website. I'm not sure where it was at, but it lists all the volunteers. Well, maybe not all, but there's a whole bunch of them on there. And it's got Pam on there. And it says board of directors underneath her name.
Yeah, it's
But-
you should have all the board of directors on there, actually.
Okay, so.
But it has her in the volunteer section.
I think so.
All right, get that fixed. Pam, as much as Pam does for us, she
Yeah.
is not a volunteer.
Right, that's what she was saying. That's what she was saying, but still, though,
Done.
if somebody
Yeah.
looks at it or whatever, I mean.
Yeah,
it
I'm
should be-
not pulling hoses and stuff.
You climb ladders. Sorry.
Okay,
I just wanted, in response to what, didn't you just recently get some clarification?
Yes, I mean, I wish I should have made copies and brought. I will get them to you guys. So from our lawyer, he gave us a memo on what you can and can't do. And you guys can do anything you want. You're political animals, so you can work for it, you can not work for it, whatever. But you guys can do anything. Volunteers can do anything on their own time. The chief, he needs to not do too much other than just give facts if somebody asks him information. But since if we were permanent salaried staff, we wouldn't be able to do much other than give out facts. But since everybody's in a volunteer status, some make stipends, some don't. As long as you say, hey, I'm on my own time right now, you can do pretty much anything. But he put a nice little memo together, and I'm going to make copies and make sure everybody gets one.
So the only time that gets tricky for volunteers is when we're on a call. So-
Right.
So if we're, on an ambulance call and they're like, hey, we really appreciate you guys. We're gonna vote for the levy. No one can
Can't do
say,
that.
that's a great idea. You really should. That's, you cross the
You
line.
can't, yeah.
You can say, oh,
We're glad you appreciate us.
yeah, yeah, right.
other than that, our volunteers are never on the clock. So if they want to tell their neighbor, you should close the levy or you should vote for the levy. They can do whatever they want unless they're wearing their shirt. Right? So if
Yeah.
they have a shirt
If you're
and they look
official.
like they're doing something for us, they cannot. So we've talked about that with the volunteers and we'll be careful about that.
Yeah, most of it's common sense, right? I mean, yeah, if you're in the military and you're in uniform, you can't do anything. But if you're not in uniform and you're on Saturday,
Yeah.
you can go do whatever you want, right? I mean, it's all
Same
about
kind of a thing.
same thing, exactly. Okay. Anything else?
Those are good questions.
Melissa, did you have anything else? Okay. Number 9, fire chief's contract, Joyce.
Okay, for transparency's sake, I want to explain, Pam and I met 2 times this month. The first time, we looked at the rough draft that I had put together like 2 years ago, in September of 23. And, we looked through that and, it's kind of a head scratcher because it doesn't really match what we're doing. I just was looking at some other districts and trying to get a format and a template and an idea of how to put together a contract, because I didn't know. And so from there, we decided we were going to have to meet again. So we met a second time with our fire chief and said, really, this doesn't fit us at all. What do we really need? And since previously several on our board were kind of reticent about having a contract, we kind of went a little bit different way and decided, well, maybe we should just have an agreement that both the board and fire chief, there's things that everyone can accept and say, yeah, that works for our district. So I'm going to turn now over to Pam, and she's going to explain it.
All right, since I'm kind of a new kid on the block, I got some information about things that may have happened in the past and some others, and thought this is clearly not a final, but just kind of a suggestion. Since then, since I got the policy manual, I have read that, and a number of these things are already in the policy manual, as far as the roles of the chief and the roles of the board, and who has responsibility solely over the volunteers and what the board can and cannot do, etc. So that will end up being revised, but just thought it needed to be reiterated here, to just so that we're all on the same page of, what the responsibilities and the decorum and the behavior of both parties, so that we know what's going on. I think that we could be the district could be in trouble if we don't come to some sort of a signed agreement, which obviously can be revised. We had suggested that instead of a calendar year, it should be with the fiscal year from July to June, which would coordinate everything along with the budget, etc. But that there really should be something in writing to protect both the chief and protect the district, as far as an agreement, because whether you call it a contract or an agreement, whether you decide that it's a contracted worker or whether it's an employee, that also needs to be decided and figure out which way it needs to go. So what we just set down as at least a starting point was expectations for the chief. Again, a lot of these are already in the policy manual, which I found, and the expectations of the board, and what compensation to get that in, and to stipulate what it does and does not include, as far as benefits or sick leave or vacation, that's not a part of it. The hours of work, that this constitutes 40 hours in a month, and there's not a whole lot that can be done as far as moving forward on our ISO rating, trying to improve that, or other kinds of things. There's only so much that can be done in 40 hours, and it shouldn't be expected that there'll be more until we positive thinking we're going to get that levy, and then we revisit the whole thing, because it would be allowed for more time to address those issues to move forward as far as the district. So good part of this language came from what Joyce had previously put together in September 23, but just tried to designate what the duties of the chief, the authority of the chief, and also what the board should do. So I don't know if you want this read, or if you have comments on what we provided. Joyce sent it out earlier. And again, this is a draft. It's a starting point, but I really think that by next month's meeting, I think we should come to some agreement of what it should be, get this signed, get it in place, and then it can be revisited again, probably with the next board.
Maybe people have time to read through it and maybe jot down their ideas. I see some pens moving. And then next meeting, come to an agreement on it and make a decision.
Well, I've got some comments right
Okay.
now. First off, on the first page, where is it? Okay, so right, policy book 2 was the last meeting or the meeting before we decided that we were just going to go with policy book 1. It was 2 meetings ago. and not use policy book 2, 3, and 4, and 5. You guys remember that?
Well, we had gone through page 40 on book 2. We had done part of book 2.
Right, but I thought we decided a couple of months ago that we were gonna.
We weren't gonna go past that, to the best of my knowledge. We were gonna go that far.
I don't ever remember it being approved by the board.
It never was formally approved, book 2, but we did work through page 40, and we
Yeah.
said, we're gonna stop here. Remember, you and I were, I think, at the works
Yeah.
session with Karen.
Yeah.
And we said, we're gonna stop here. We're gonna go this far, but we're not gonna go any further. Right? But that never was formally approved, up to page 40 of book 2.
So
So-
that's something.
But
that
we
needs-
had,
So the revision was never approved,
No.
but book
We-
1, 2, 3, and 4 were already approved by the board years ago.
yeah.
Years ago, but I thought like 2 months
So
ago,
what
we decided.
agreed is to drop off after page 40, drop off the rest of book 2, 3, and 4. Just.
You're wrong.
Okay, so I don't
You're
remember
wrong.
that. I thought we decided to just drop off all of book 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't remember it that way. I mean, I guess we can go back and look at the minutes. Well, we don't gotta do it right now. I'm just saying that's something that's just a wording thing,
Mhm.
right? I mean, but it's something for us to look
That
at,
has to be
right? I
verified.
mean,
Yeah.
you
we do
know,
need-
and then on F, it says the chief shall be responsible for any interactions with volunteers, including issues brought to the chief's attention by a board member. Well, a while ago, when it's been a while ago, a year ago, a year and a half ago, I don't know, it's been a long time ago. That it was decided by the board that only the president of the board could tell the chief what to do. I mean,
Okay,
and that we should all go that way. That way,
Okay.
the chief doesn't have 5 people emailing him and telling him what to do, right?
okay, so
So-
we'll change that to board.
So, and take out
Mhm.
a board
Just say by the board.
a board member by the president of the board, right? I mean, so that's just
Okay, thank you for-
semantics,
thank
right?
you
I
for-
mean, okay, and then when you go to the next page, what I don't get is why our board responsibilities have anything to do with the fire chief's contract or agreement or whatever you call it. I mean, our responsibilities are with us. I mean, so, I mean, why is that even in there? I don't understand. I mean, am I missing something? I mean, because that's something like the board would decide, okay, so, you know, we have our policy book, but then if we wanted to add something to the policy book, then we would pass something about board responsibilities. I mean, why is that even at all in his thing? His thing should be what we expect of him, what we're gonna pay him, what, you know, stuff like that. Am I missing something there?
But the contractual agreement goes both ways. Both parties have to say, I commit to doing this. And the other party has to say, I commit to doing this. And we agree. That's kind of how a contractual agreement works, I think.
Like you agree to pay him, for instance. That's something that the board would agree to do.
Right, but yeah, it would be limited on, you know, we agree to
Mhm.
pay him, we agree, I mean, yes, and we agree that he's gonna get evaluated once a year, or, I mean, it would be limited. It wouldn't have nothing to do with board
Don't need
board
to-
conduct.
like me to address?
No, not really. I want to talk to the board. So, I mean, I don't know.
Well, but this main thing is, from what I understand, again, being new on this and have, from what I've heard from various people, are some issues that have come up in the past. And so I thought they should be brought forward, and perhaps they are, like I say, I have found them in the policy. They're very clear in the policy manual. So it's to address so that everybody understands what actions and behaviors are appropriate and what are not. And so if this ends up getting eliminated and referring to the policy manual, that would be fine. But there are certain things such as, for lack of a better term, chain of command of who's responsible for the board. So the board can't go to the volunteers and tell them what to do. That's not our position. Our position is to go to the chief. If there's an issue that comes up that somebody knows about with the volunteers, we go to the chief. It's the chief's responsibility to deal with the volunteers with any kind of disciplinary action or investigation or any of that, and then report back to the board. In this case, it would be you. We'd bring, if we saw something, we'd bring it to you, you bring it to
Right,
Steve, et cetera. But it's not, we don't circumvent that.
right.
So it's, but evidently some things have happened in the
But, I
past.
mean,
So
that-
just make a clarification of sort of the order of communication of how.
Right, but
things
that's
need to
like a 2 or 3 sentence thing. I mean, it also goes back to here, the president of the board will get hold of the chief, but also what you're saying, you're right, it'd be like a 2 or 3 sentence thing, not A, B, C, D, E, F,
Right,
G.
well,
And,
clearly.
and what would happen if, so what would happen if number F happened, or number E, or number D, or
Mhm.
whatever? What would happen if one of those happened? Would that then give him a grievance? I mean, why are these, you see what I'm saying? I mean, that's a board thing. I
Mhm.
mean, if I threaten you, or if you threaten him, or however it goes, right? I mean, that's a board thing that the board has to decide.
Mhm.
It's got nothing to do with him, right? The only thing it has to do with him is how we treat him, how we're gonna pay him, how we interact with him. You know, that the relationship between us and him.
Right.
It does have nothing to do with the relationship between Joyce and me, or Joyce and you, or you and Juan, or that type of thing.
I did read also in here the issues about access to patient records or access to any confidential information.
Right.
That again is totally through the chief, whether there's access or not, and what's appropriate access. And as I understand, there has been issues in the past of that being circumvented as
Well-
well. So, but that's in the policy manual as well.
I
You can
think
see that.
if anything, we should maybe take these, because I haven't spent a lot of time on them, but just glancing at them kind of sort of, most of them seem like they're pretty normal things. If anything, we should maybe look at these and then maybe decide if we want to put them into the board book 1 manual, because that deals with the way the board
Mhm.
does things, right? I mean, and some of them I think are already in
Actually,
there.
A lot of them
A lot
are.
of them already are
Yeah,
already in
a
there,
lot of
right?
them are.
Correct,
I've discovered.
correct. So then, I don't know, I'm just talking, we can do whatever.
Mhm.
Okay, and
At some
then,
point, we'll have to have a conversation, and that will include Chief talking about the chief agreement.
okay,
So you and I'll have to communicate with each other,
you're talking about just me and you, or at a board meeting?
the whole board meeting. Yeah,
Okay, well, we can
would you like to?
put that on the
would you
agenda,
like
I
my
guess.
Perspective on why those things are in there?
Not really.
Okay, so you're incapable of having conversation with me, that's a problem.
If you want to put it on there, we can put it on the next agenda, chief. So under number 3, compensation,
Mhm.
I also think that something should be put in there. I don't know how exactly to word it. I just scratched down that he is a private contractor. That's not probably the right wording, right?
That's
I'm-
that's a decision that has to be made. Is it a contractor or an employee? Because they're two different things.
Okay, well, whatever, that needs, either one needs to
So
be
we need
written
to-
down,
that needs to
right?
be
That needs to be
decided.
clarified,
Right,
right?
yeah.
I mean, however, we're gonna do that. And that's all I saw. Oh, no, hang on. Okay, and then on number 5, residency, it says the parties agree that the fire chief shall reside within a reasonable distance. What's a reasonable distance? I think if he resides within the district,
Okay.
I mean, what's a
What
reasonable
it said
distance?
before was within 15 minutes, and I thought that was
Okay,
a
well,
little too.
We were just-
whatever, but I just think a reasonable distance is pretty vague.
Okay.
I think,
So within the district,
well, I mean, what do you guys think?
makes sense.
I mean, there's nothing,
So historically, I will say you've had a couple of chiefs that didn't live in the district that have been our chiefs for a while. That's just something that if you're looking for other applicants down the road.
right, but
Yeah.
this would be for him. If we, right? Am I missing something?
For whatever, whoever we
This would
have
be
for
whoever-
fire.
whoever.
Okay, well,
So-
then that seems, then we need to think about that then.
Yeah.
I guess, right? Okay. Yeah, I don't know yeah,
Preferably the district.
yeah, I don't know. It's just something to think about. I mean,
Well, considering if we were going to, if there was we were gonna hire somebody else, then there would be some things that could be adjusted because it would not yet be a signed document.
Right. I just
The board
thought,
could change that.
a reasonable distance was pretty big. Who decides that? Is it, halfway down Mill Creek,
Well, they wouldn't live in Jacksonville.
right, but I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah.
just thought that was kind of,
Okay. Well,
however,
I
however
kinda
we
thought-
want to
I
change
kind
it,
of thought
but
that within 15 minutes was a bit too specific.
yeah,
So we could.
whatever. We can talk about it. I mean, whatever we think. I don't know.
Good point.
And I think that's just last night. I think that's all I had. Yeah, most of it was just semantics, right?
Yeah, and I just need to change this.
I have one. Section 6, performance evaluation.
Mhm.
District shall review and evaluate the performance of the chief once annually based on previously agreed to performance goals. We don't have any, do we?
No, because the way it works is if you're going to hire somebody, that's when you use the job description. That is to put that out here and see this is what's required and what we want. The job description applies to when you're hiring somebody.
That's the reason it's on the
Then-
next item on the
Right.
agenda.
Then what you do as far as when somebody's hired, you get together with them and you set a set of goals. This is what we agree that you need to work on for this year. Then after the year, you go back and you look at those goals and compare that to
Correct.
what was done and discuss maybe why some things were only partially done or why they weren't able to be accomplished or what has been accomplished and accomplished in addition. So it's the goals that are set with whomever is the chief that you can evaluate against. But the job description is used for when you're actually hiring somebody. So that's where this would be agreed to goals. Because then I know when I've ever had to do evaluations in my working, we had the goals at an annual review, we'd set them for the next year, and then following year, we're reviewed against those goals.
Right. And you can change them or not. So
Right.
maybe we need to put need goals there so that
But what goals?
we need specific goals for
Right.
them when we,
That's why I said previously agreed to, because performance goals can vary depending on exactly who you're
Right,
talking
but
about.
we
They're not
need-
going to fit
we
everybody.
need to get goals before
Exactly.
we do this, right?
Well, no, I think you'd need to have an agreement first, and then the next set is to decide on goals for the next year of what you're going to do.
I look at it, but the other way,
Wow.
Okay?
and he should be aware of what we expect
Oh, exactly.
before he gets,
Before he signs them.
before he gets.
Yeah, I think it
Yes.
should be both at the same time.
Yeah, in
I
this,
mean,
in
or at least
this
real
case-
close, like,
in this case, since he's already the chief, the deal would be to, yes, we should have a job description, but also an agreement, and then you can set some goals. So it's going to, in this case, it would be all at one time.
Mm.
Whereas, for anyone in the future, it may not be
Correct.
all the time.
okay.
But I do think that this needs to be resolved and not simply just get down the road a little bit longer. It's pretty much gone too long. So we need to come up with something to have in place. It can be revisited, probably sometime in the summer or something, whenever the next board is in, should revisit it.
Okay, anything else? Joyce, anything else? Okay, so number 10, fire chief's job description.
I got job descriptions from Lake Creek, Butte Falls, and Shady Cove. Did anybody else get any from anywhere? Okay. One from Butte Falls, is not much. One I got from Lake Creek is where the fire chief is pretty well defined. There is no medical with it. The one I got from Shady Cove, of course, they're full-time EMTs and employees, and it was quite lengthy. Reading through these, the best one I could come up with on my own mind was the one out of Lake Creek. The only thing we'd have to do would be to add a section in there dealing with his responsibilities to the medical side of the house. And I have no clue what those would be. But it covers the scope, the responsibilities, knowledge, skills, and abilities, skills, attributes, work environment.
So I got a question, Bob.
Yeah.
So how many hours a month does the Lake Creek chief work? Did you ask them that?
I did, it doesn't say, and I did not ask.
I mean, because their job description would be different if he worked more than 40 hours or less than 40 hours or whatever, like if he worked, let's just say 60 hours, right?
I can
That
call
would be something,
them
don't you guys think? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
and ask how many hours a month or a week he works.
that was something.
I have no
something that
idea.
Would have to take into consideration.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can't, if this guy works, let's say,
If
two
he-
weeks, 80 hours, right?
80 hours.
You can't.
No.
You have to adjust it, right? You couldn't give
Right.
the chief and say
Correct.
what we, I mean, so that's would be something to find out.
But what I was looking at mainly at this one is it breaks it down as to what his responsibilities are and everything that he does. It talks. Where is? It gives on the very last page his certifications that he's required to have for their fire department. I don't know what these things mean, have no idea. But I'm sure Lyle knows. But I think this is something that we need to look at and do at the same time we're looking at the possibility of the contract that we just discussed.
Well, we need to find out, in my opinion, how many hours this guy works.
I
right?
will
Because that's definitely adjusted,
call them
you know.
tomorrow.
A lot of this seems like, just common sense, but, yeah, there's a lot in here.
Yeah, there is.
They probably actually already doing it.
Yeah.
Probably, he's probably doing
Probably
99%.
does. Yeah, a lot, most of it, I'm sure he does.
I mean,
Yeah.
But Lionel, what responsibilities do you have to the medical side of the house other than being a first responder for medical?
Same as on the fire side, I'm responsible to make sure everyone has proper certifications, that they're safe when they go out, that they go to the trainings.
Okay,
So we run medical and fire. I supervise folks that do both sides of that.
did we have one of these to give to the chief?
I have one.
Yeah. What?
Yep.
So
You can just give them that one.
Here.
Go ahead.
why don't you,
I think.
between now and next meeting, chief, why don't you take a look at it and just put like a check mark about on the things that you already don't do, right? Because you probably do 90% of these, I'm guessing, or
Yeah.
more. I'm here, Joyce. You need one.
Oh. I already.
Okay.
I did them.
And then we'll find out how many hours that guy works, right? And I mean, like I said, I think I don't know, I haven't really looked at it, but a lot of it, recruiting oriented firefighters, sure hammer out. I mean, you probably do most all of these already. I'm just guessing. And there might be one or two or whatever that you don't do. I don't know without looking at it, but I would guess that most of them, like you say, are common sense, right?
Mhm.
That's what I think. What do you guys think?
It's just broken down into a lot of detail, but I think you probably just glancing over it, it looks like you do pretty much all of it already.
Not sure.
So, but it would be good to know how many ounces this is.
Right, right. But I mean, a lot of this is insurance inspection of apparatus. I'm sure you know, but yeah, I mean, that's all common things, right?
Mhm.
Anybody have anything else? So do we want to go back to this next month or not?
Well, if we can find out, even if he just emails to us how many hours, if he finds out, then we can be more prepared for it. For next
Okay.
week. If this is something that we have an electronic copy of, that we could just make adjustments, I'd be happy to do that if you need somebody to do it,
Okay,
or it could be typed either one.
whatever.
But
Yeah, I'm
I'd be
good.
happy
I'm
to do
good
that
either
if we
way.
need somebody to do it.
I'm good either way. Whatever. We just have to look at it. Okay.
As a suggestion, you guys, the board is responsible to have a chief here that's gonna handle everything, leadership, all the different programs, whether it's fire medical, whether it's fire prevention, whether it's education. There's a lot of different things that a fire department does. And so you need a job description, but you should be talking to these guys about what kind of a contract do they have with their fire chief? Do they have a contracted fire chief? What kind of time does it put in? And the other thing is are they meeting all those things? Are they getting all the certifications? Are they making sure that the hoses are tested? Are they making sure all these things are handled? That's all that is critical in any document that you're going to put together that's going to be signed, and what your expectations are of the chief. So the expectations are those performance goals that you guys want. And 8 hours a week or whatever, that's not, there's only so much you can expect. So it's, getting this information from the other fire departments is good. But like you said, Shady Cove, they're full time chief.
Right.
They've got, I mean, they're paying probably 120 grand a year. I mean, there's some number that's huge,
Sure.
right? And so even if you could get a different chief to come here and work for well, first of all, you'll probably never get another chief to come here for these hours. Okay. I don't care who it is, but maybe if you get up to the halftime, you might be able to get some retired chief that would come up here and make sure that all the things are taken care of. But I think you guys need to set a plan on what you want to accomplish by each meeting so that you're okay, that you're going to get here. Because otherwise, this could just flounder for months. And so you need to have some expectation of what you want and what you plan to have, and then make some decisions to get there. But the other thing is you got to talk to the chief, because the chief's the one that knows what he's doing now and what needs to be done, and he can help you with this a lot. I think that's really important, is to get that communication going. You guys could work through this, and probably between now and the next meeting, you could probably have this all worked out and have a draft agreement ready to go. That's what I would say, because you can meet in between meetings, and just kind of go over the different things that you need to get. I think that even though that chief, the closest fire, which with my little knowledge of fire departments or volunteer organizations, I think Evans Creek is the closest to us, but they still have a full-time fire chief. But they're the closest on what we actually do here as compared to some of these other places. And I'd really be interested to see what Lake Creek really does. They're a full volunteer fire department. I don't even know if they pay this guy.
I don't either.
And but they do have a bigger budget than us. So just so you know that.
I think you're right. I think we need to have a work session before the next meeting, if we can put together a time that we're going to do that. I think it'd be very helpful, because we need to come to some agreement on this instead of just doing it in the monthly meeting. if that would work for everybody.
Just discuss the job description. Is that what we're doing?
Well,
Or
And the
what? Or-
contract.
I
And the
think,
contract.
I think the job description
Goals.
and the agreement go into both of
Are
them.
we gonna work on
Yeah.
the goals too?
And yeah, probably. go.
Well, we don't want to put too much there. We'll be there all night.
No, I think
I think we
the
should
job
stick to,
description and the agreement kind of go hand in hand,
yeah, but, yeah, but I mean,
at least to discuss them. So, what time would that start?
I don't know, 7. I do 7, like 7 to 9 or something like that.
Okay.
Okay, so where are we gonna try to have it? We want to try at the we got the library, the community hall, or her place. Doesn't matter to me one way or the other.
Okay.
Saves a step, just go to your place because no one has to get a key.
The whole building.
Okay, okay, okay.
You guys want me to attend that?
I do too.
You're the one who knows what we have to do. We're gonna.
March 14th?
14.
Yes.
Does that work? Okay. And in the meantime, we can all, take a look. But,
Or job.
Correct.
Contractor and agreement. Employee it would basically be almost a living document.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. Does anybody else have any public comment?
I had a real quick one, kind of tying in with what Mike was saying, as far as measuring whether a job description is accurate for this, not only what service do they provide, but I'd be curious what their call volume is too. Because a chief that is managing a department that runs one call a month has less to do as far as managing staff and everything just by its very nature, even if he has 40 volunteers, than one that has 30 calls, 40 calls in a week, in a month. So if you're already talking to them and asking them about how many hours do they work, how, do you think you're meeting all those things that are in your description? And I would suggest you might want to also just kind of ask them just roughly what is your monthly or yearly call volume, so you have.
I've got, how much money does he make? What is your call volume? How many hours do you work? And are you getting the job done?
Well, it occurred to me that, if you're comparing, like I said, a department like us that runs on average a call every day, day and a half versus a department that might do one a month, you'd have more time to do all the
Sure.
bureaucratic stuff
Got it?
if you're not having to deal with volunteers that are actually running calls a lot.
And Bob, did you say they do medical also, or they do not?
They do not.
They do not do medical. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
That was all I had.
So I do have a question. How many fire departments did you actually reach out to that are strictly volunteer?
As
Job descriptions.
far as I know, we went Shady Cove, Butte Falls, Lake Creek. What was the other one?
Because there were 3 of us and we
Each took one. And, Evans Creek?
in Evans.
Evans Creek was, but did we ever hear back from them?
It's Evans Valley, right?
Or Evans Valley? Evans Valley?
It's in the middle of Evans Valley.
We also got information from children.
Yeah.
Oh, Chilligan's another one. Yeah, that's a good.
So there was 4 or 5 of them that were notified or asked.
Yeah, but
But the only ones that I've seen is Shady Cove, Butte Falls and Lake Creek.
We know Butte Falls has virtually no call volume.
Yeah.
and off the top of my head, I tend to discount Shady Cove just because they have full-time people, and that's kind of,
Yeah,
Right,
they're
just-
like a hybrid department.
Yeah, that's-
Your arm now, but they're both.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that's,
A call volume that's at least 10 times what ours
we
is.
need to try to do apples and apples, not apples and oranges, and I think. Okay, does anybody else have? No?
Yeah.
Okay, Can we get a motion?
Adjourn.
anybody second that? All in favor? Aye. So. April 14th.
Like at some point, we have to have a working relationship. In this entire room, there's nothing more important than it's like you and I's relationship. It's probably the worst of anyone in this entire room. So at some point, we ought to think about how we work on that, how we facilitate it, how we work around whatever it is that's around, but if you and I have got.
I'm- Yeah, you're right. Wow.
You don't know about it.
I don't know.
Do you want to work on it?
I'm